Now, as I said, we're going to need an extra unit here to protect our lands, potentially. I mean, we've already got barbarians coming definitely in from this direction now. Barbarians are definitely coming to us from this direction. We're going to need this extra archer to deal with them. So we're going to build another archer here. And what we're going to do is we're going to redo our tiles because we don't want to starve. Now, we don't really need to grow, so I guess we'll take the extra gold and production there. We're going to build an archer for 2 turns, and then we're going to get back to building settlers. Typically, the advice is build settlers until you need no more settlers. But in our case, we're going to build an archer because we're definitely going to need it. And we're going to not work this horse tile because odds are this barbarian could well just stand on a horse tile. That means we're not going to be able to use it for the start of the next turn. And we have no idea where the governor is going to go and make our citizen go. If we lock here, it's going to take the citizen out and put it somewhere random. We want to choose where it goes. So we'll just take it on the copper. That's safer. Hey, Laventa, hello. Another Faith City-State. Unfortunately, we didn't meet them first this time, but hey ho, you can't have everything. And there's where Byzantium settled their second city. We're going to have a look at that now. We're going to take our settler. And what we really want to be doing is with our settlers, we want to be settling our contested spots first. And you want to do that because, you know, if there's a spot that's between myself and Byzantium, either of us could be settling it. If Byzantium settles it, I can't. So I want to make sure to reduce the risk of Byzantium settling my spot before me, and I do that by sending my first settlers there, you know, by settling them in order of positions at most risk from being taken by someone else. So we're going to use our settler and we're going to go straight immediately to this position. It's annoying because it doesn't have a unique luxury, but we've got the bonus of having 2 uniques in our capital, so it doesn't matter to us that much. We're gonna, or we could finish chopping this forest here. And that's actually going to speed us up in terms of getting to settlers, so we're actually going to chop this forest. Now, I talked earlier about chopping my forest while we were building settlers, because when you're building settlers, you can't grow. And so that's why we want to reduce the amount of time we're building settlers if absolutely possible, so that we can spend more time growing, and growing is the way that you win this game. However, we're actually stagnating right now anyway. We're stagnating because we've got no excess food, which means that we're not growing now anyway, so we can actually happily chop this forest here and know that it speeds up the production of our settlers either way. And now some of you might be asking, why am I chopping the forest on this deer? Doesn't chopping a forest normally change the yield of a tile? Yes. Chopping a forest changes the yield of a tile when you chop a forest that's on tundra, on hills, or on grassland. However, if you chop a forest on a plains tile, it does not change the yield of that tile. And that's important because you'll notice this tile, when it had a forest on it, was still 1 food, 1 hammer. I've chopped the forest, it's still 1 food, 1 hammer. And because this deer is on a plains tile, and if we mouse over it, it tells us that because we've got the enhanced user interface mod. It means that when we chop the forest that's on this deer, even though it's a deer, we don't lose any tile yield because we're chopping a plains tile. You don't lose tile yield when you chop forests on plains. So we're going to happily chop. And if we finish the chop right here, you'll notice our archer goes down from 2 turns to 1 turn. And the reason we chop now then, as opposed to build while we were building settlers, is 1, because we're stagnating anyway, but 2, we get the archer out sooner. We've got the archer out 1 turn sooner. That's going to be a real big help in dealing with these 2 hand axes that are already terrorizing our land. So we'll carry on. We'll skip across the river here because it's going to be faster movement. You lose all of your movement when you move across the river, unless you've got a unit with a special promotion. We don't, so we're going to lose all of our movement when we do that. And we're going to get a bit of a spy on Adrianople now. We see the AI got a few things going on. Interesting. And now we finish the archer, we're going to go back to building our settlers. That means we're going to go back to working this tile, and this tile, because again, you can't starve when you're building settlers. And now we're going to continue moving. We go up here first, we get extra vision. Well, we need to protect this now. This is a real pain. And it's a real pain because this archer is going to be a real terror to us. So what I'm actually going to do is bring our newly built archer over. And what do I do with this worker now? I really want to improve some copper. And I'm probably going to improve one of these coppers over here. Because if I start improving on this tile is really in danger of being attacked by loads of barbarians from this camp. So if I improve this tile, I'm going to have to protect it basically until I kill this barb camp. I don't have enough units to protect my stuff right now. So I'm going to go move to a position which is more likely to be protected. And that's because I've got this warrior coming back. It's because I've got my city right here. It's because a barbarian that's going to attack this tile probably gets spawned from in here. And we don't know there's a camp here yet. With this archer, we're going to step back 1 position before we shoot the hand axe. And we're going to step back 1 position because barbarian units can't move and attack on the same turn. They can only move or attack. A hand axe can only attack within one range of itself. It's only got one range for attacking, which means that if I'd attacked the hand axe while standing on this tile, the hand axe would have started the tile next to me, which means it could have attacked me. However, because I've moved back, the hand axe now has to move before it can attack me, and because it has to move before it can attack me, it can't attack me because barbarians can only move or attack, not both. Of course, it's different for melee attacks, but for ranged attacks, for ranged units, they can only move or attack. They can't do both, which means that in this case, we won't get attacked by the archer, and we want to conserve as much HP as possible. So we've got to deal with this hand axe and this hand axe, and I guarantee you another unit will come down. So we move on to our turn now because we're done. And the hand axe has moved even closer into our city range. In fact, it's moved onto this tile. That gives us the ability to shoot it with the city, and then we can take it out with our archer. We didn't need to do any special moving gimmicks because we knew we were going to take out the barbarian. We're going to move on to this copper here, and the reason I'm moving into this copper as opposed to this copper is just because, in fact, I don't actually know why I would do this. And the reasoning is I would normally move on and improve the hill copper first, and that's because the hill copper is the tile that I'm currently working. I'm working it to produce settlers. However, I'm not entirely sure how many cities I want to settle here, found here before the National College. So, you know, National College is the most important building to get built. It pays off for us to build it as soon as we possibly can, regardless of whether or not we end up on 2 cities, 3 cities, 4 cities, 5 cities. Now, having an extra city out is indeed better, so it will pay off for us sooner to get the National College down. But it'll pay off sooner for us to be able to get our National College down, but we really, it's always, you know, you get a lot of benefits from getting more cities out sooner. So you've always got this trade-off early game between fewer cities out and being able to build your National College sooner, or more cities out and having to build your National College later, because, you know, all else being equal, say every city takes the same amount of time to build a library, which is what's required in all cities before you build the National College. Now, if I settle 2 cities, I'll build my library, it'll get done in whatever time. But that third city, it gets settled, say, 10 turns later than the second one, which means that it will finish its library 10 turns later, which means I build my National College 10 turns later. So you can kind of see now how settling more cities slows down your National. So what you want to do is hit this sweet spot where you're getting your National College down in a fast enough time, but it's always more beneficial to get yourself more cities out earlier. So we're always in this juggling act early game. And so why I'm not immediately moving to this copper is because I don't know if I'm going to build a third settler yet. I might decide to only build 3 cities and then go get my National College before founding my other 2 cities. And we'll do this because it gets our National done faster. However, I'm thinking of only building 2 because I think the contested spots, so this spot in here, because Byzantium's going to contest it, but also this spot in here. I don't think it's that contested, but, you know, Byzantium could, you know, it could go for this city, see me found it, and it's settlers here, and it could be like, okay, I'm just going to walk to the right a bit and just plonk something stupid down over here. And so we want to get our city in here before Byzantium can do something stupid. Settling a city after National College is going to be settled on like turn 70 or something on quick speed. You know, Byzantium's got 49 turns to go put something stupid down in here. So I'll probably settle this because it's contested. I'll settle this because I think that Byzantium could conceivably go take it anyway. But I know that this city is mine. I know that this city is mine. I'm not too worried about losing those, so I could delay them until after the National. But I think that if I settle particularly this city, because it's got production to work, it's got this 3 food tile, and then it can work the sheep, it can work the marble, it can work this desert hill with fresh water. It's got enough production in it such that I think that if I settle that one 4th, I think I'll get enough production in it that my National College won't be delayed too much for settling that extra city. So in this case, I think I am going to build 3 settlers before stopping. So I'm going to move on to this copper. And I'm going to choose to move on to this copper because we're working this tile while building settlers. We're not working this tile. If we were going to not build settlers, we were going to be more likely to work this tile because it's got growth on it before this tile. But because we are going to build settlers, we're going to have this mine done in time to build our 3rd settler. So we know that it's going to be useful to us. Now this is a bit of a bummer here. We've got this archer attacking us. We want to probably settle right there. So it's going to be pretty damn annoying to deal with this barb. So what I'm going to do is move back here, just move up, kind of fortify, and we'll continue moving along. Guess we'll move up here because it doesn't make any difference. We're going to continue scouting down here. I don't know whether or not to continue scouting down here or whether or not to go back up this way. Because this is tundra, I think this is the north of the map, which means that there's probably an AI down off here. So I think I want to go scout down this way. We can go out this way later. But Byzantium's borders might close. So perhaps we want to go through here sooner. And we'll go through here depending on whether or not this spawns a barbarian. Our scout will get killed if we spend too much time around barb camps. So we're going to make that decision depending on how many barbarians are there or not.
Here Hector entered with a spear 11.
Got bronze working now. The iron did indeed appear on this time. So in 3 turns, we're going to be able to get this tile on our borders. That will give us extra production when building settlers. And we'll block off this barbarian hand axe now with our warrior, even though we're going to kill it anyway here. We're going to move this archer up to attack the hand axe again, and we can't get hit by this hand axe over the end turn because the hand axe can't move and shoot. It can only move or shoot. A ruin. Might be worth sacrificing the scout for, we'll see. Can't believe Byzantium hasn't got it actually, but I guess they never went that far. And so we've moved here now. We can start working on this archer. And now, perhaps we can... I don't know if we can move up or not. We'll try it. And we'll fortify. Gonna get working on this. And choose our research. Now we want to go moving towards our luxuries. The first luxury that we're going to be doing after copper, it's going to be these first, so we're going to go for trapping. Okay, our archer got shot. That's actually good for us. That's good for us because our unit to protect our settler is our scout. So we'll happily take that shot, and we'll take another shot back on this archer now. We've got an upgrade on this one. That's nice. Probably going to be fighting a lot of open terrain. So we're going to take accuracy. We'll take that out. So that's that barbarian gone. It's not going to bother us anymore. Continue on that. And we'll move this worker down there now, and we'll protect it with the warrior. Spawned a brute, which means that we're not going to be able to get by down here. We'll get killed long before we can get by, so we'll move back up. I guess we're going to go this way with the scout instead. We'll go back past Byzantium later. Stonehenge goes, another wonder, shows you just how quick cities go down. Now, I've been thinking about this city, and the question is where on earth to settle it. We've got a couple of choices. We can go here, or we can go there. There. Or there. I don't think it makes too much functional difference. We're within range of the cocoa, but this city gets settled with cocoa anyway, so I don't care about it. So what we want to really care about is actually defensibility from Byzantium. Now, if we settle a city here, we can get attacked from a lot of tiles. You know, Byzantium could come and attack us. They can shoot us from this tile, this tile, this tile, and this tile. If we settle a city right here, we can actually only get shot from this tile and this tile. But you'll notice that in order to go to this tile, they might actually have to go round. I can't tell. So settling here and not chopping this forest would mean that we couldn't get shot from anything on that tile or that tile, and that's really, really strong for us. But in this case, I really don't think it matters too much where we put ourselves. This city is going to be eminently defensible either way. And since we don't care about the cocoa, we don't gain any additional... We do gain additional civil service tiles, but I mean, are we really going to work those? Probably not. So I might actually move here just for the observatory, so we're closer to horses, and we actually get a banana. We don't get a banana. We actually get an extra banana in our ring. We'd have it for this city, but we want it for this city. We're going to need to make best use of what's going around, so we move over one more. We'll sort of move away now from these barbarians. This archer, it's actually got an instant heal right now, and I don't know if I want to take it. In fact, what I think I'm going to do is take open terrain and then fortify. And the reason is, I mean, our stuff gets stronger if we take promotions. If we take an instant heal promotion, it gives us no benefits for the rest of the game for the archer apart from health now. So you take it if you need it, and typically I like taking health on these units. And it's just because kind of the extra promotion is, it's nice, but it's rarely so impactful. So I often take instant heals, but in this case I see an opportunity to sort of take another promotion at no risk. We can just heal instead. And we've found the city now. Switch to production focus. And I think what we'll actually do is perhaps we'll just go buy this deer now. We're not growing to it, and it would be nice if this city grew. So we're going to buy this deer and immediately work it, get some growth in here. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to build a worker first in this city. And you're going to think, oh, a worker? It's not something you usually see. The advice that's generally recommended is granary or library straight away. But building workers in your expands is actually incredibly valuable, and it's incredibly valuable because it frees up production time in your capital. You're going to have to build a worker somewhere. You can build it in your capital or your expand. Now, It doesn't matter so much on Deity because we're not going to be getting wonders anyway. But by building a worker in your expand, you generally free up time to build a wonder in your capital. And in this expand, we think that we can afford to build a worker here. You know, you'll normally only build a granary or a library because you're like, man, I'm not going to have enough production to finish my library in time to build my national college. But this city is going to be immediately working the deer. That's 2 food, 1 hammer. And look, it's got horse in second ring, horse in second ring. That's 1 food, 2 hammers, 1 food, 2 hammers. When this city gets to 3 pop, we can stagnate it, and we can be working 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hammers straight away. That's more than enough for us to crank out a worker, a granary, and a library before we need to be building our national college. So we happily go away and do that here. And hopefully we can now... You know, we can't even kill this archer. But maybe we can kill it with a scout. Yeah, our scout might die by doing that, but this archer's not going to die from the barbarian archer, so we won't worry about that. And we're up to 4 happiness, so we can carry on growing, and we're even going to chop this out, which is going to help us even more finish our settler next turn, and we'll just queue up the next settler straight away. We are building settlers immediately at 3 pop before doing anything else. You know, we took a break to build an archer, but that's only if you need to. We're doing it just because we need to secure our city spots. I promise you it's not worth going to pop 4, pop 5 this early unless you've got a certain set of circumstances. Those are an exception to the rule. Usually 3 pop is just the way to go for building settlers, because the amount of food that you need to go from 3 pop to 4 is 22. That's a lot. You know, it's typically going to mean that you have to wait 10 turns between pop 3 and pop 4, or even 11 turns between pop 3 and pop 4 before you can build. You know, before you've grown, before you start building settlers. That's all of your settlers done a bit slower. And for what, an extra pop? It's actually not worth it early game, because we've talked about the explosion that you get when you get aqueducts, the policy and tradition that gives you food for your capital, the plus 10% growth and the plus 15% growth. That's when growth really explodes. That's when growth is efficient. You don't have to worry about growth until you get all of those things. Before then, you can afford to happily work hammers, and what you really want to do is just get through your production queue, get your settlers out. I promise you it's much better to be getting your settlers out early. You know, there's a guy called, I think he's called, I forget what it is, the Guinea Pig 123 or something, with the Guinea Pig 23 on Reddit. He's got a great article on that. He released it about 6 years ago. It's still relevant now. Absolutely what you want to do. So, now we talked about that. I would go and take out this camp. And I think I will, because our next settle is going to be going down here. So we know that we're going to have to be getting bothered by barbarians in this area. So I'm going to move this archer immediately down to start dealing with those. Unfortunately, we're going to take a hit from this brute here. But we'll probably bring this archer over to go and help support. And we'll heal this scout so that we can get that on the move too. And we're going to carry on. Yeah, so we took a hit from that brute there. That's a shame. And this archer is actually in a bit of a fragile state. Unfortunate. And we're going to back up here. We're going to take another shot at this brute. Hopefully that'll kind of have the brute done with. We've got to figure out what we want to do here. 1, 2. I guess we'll keep moving this worker, this settler out here for now. And we're going to need to find a way to handle this. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to heal the scout and then meet up with the settler when it gets around here somewhere. And we need to heal all of our units desperately. So we'll do that. And we can't even build a camp here because we've got trapping, but we only need to wait 1 turn. And what we'll do is we'll pre-build a pasture here for 1 turn before moving back to work on the camp. And this settler, what we're going to do, I guess, is we can improve this iron. And in fact, I should work this iron now to get us from 13 to 14. I could go, and I think I will go and get this copper online. It's not too much immediate benefit to us, but we want to make our way down to New York here so we can start chopping these forests. But if we get this copper online, we're going to get first dibs at a luxury deal with Byzantium. AI gets their luxuries on incredibly quickly. 9 and 6. Man, I didn't even, like, what? I didn't even see this, but this is ludicrous size from Byzantium here. AI gets their luxuries on relatively quickly, and they meet all the AIs so quickly. They're going to trade away all their luxuries, and having lux trades with AI is going to be really valuable for early growth. So we want to get a duplicate luxury online now, so we've got something to trade to Byzantium whenever her duplicate luxury comes online. You know, whenever she finally gets these cocoa online, we want something to trade, so we're going to go for it right now. Look, religion, turn 26. What? This is why we didn't go for a faith pantheon. We went for God King. Culture is incredibly valuable. Anytime you get the opportunity to take that with a pantheon, it's good. I mean, your first choice should always be a faith-producing pantheon, and it should be on your first choice pretty much against everything except deity. Multiplayer, immortal, anything below, Faith producing pantheon, absolutely. Religions are so great for your game. But against Deity, half the time the AI is going to convert your cities to their religion. Whether or not you've got a religion in there, they're going to do it with great profits, which means that you're not going to have the faith per turn to convert them back, blah, blah, blah. You know, so it's typically better to focus on non-faith benefits with your pantheon, especially if you start near a religious AI like Byzantium. It's, you know, pretty good to focus on non-faith benefits. They tend to just give more to you because, you know, 100 faith, you know, whatever. We'll find other ways to get that, you know, ally IF or something. But it's really difficult to get things like culture. It's really difficult to get things like food. So anytime you can get culture or food or hammers from your pantheon, we're taking. We're even getting a bit of faith from God King, right? God King's giving us 1 faith, 1 culture, 1 gold, 1 hammer. It's great stuff. So we're happy with God King here. People think that God King is rubbish. It's kind of a thing going around in the Civ community that God King is truly pants, but it's actually a really underrated pantheon. It's underrated because of the extra hammer, mostly, and the extra science, because we'd be on 7 right now without God King. We've got 8. That's an increase of what, like, I don't know, 15% or something in terms of our science. That's a lot, right? Anytime someone said, you know, we'll give you a 15% science, you'll be like, bam, take it. You know, so we're getting all these great benefits, and culture is so hard to come by. It gets through tradition faster. We're very, very happy with God King. If we had a faith pantheon right now, we wouldn't be getting that. AI moves instead of attacking us. That's great. So we're going to take it out. We're going to have a quick radar now to make sure that when we move our settler right here, it doesn't get taken. It won't, so we're going to move it. We need to start moving our scout over now so that they can link up together. We're going to move this archer over too so that we've got some support. Now that we've finished trapping, we're going to go and get this luxury online. We want to keep our happiness up for our settles so our settles can keep growing. We've met Yerevan, that's excellent. If we're on multiplayer, we'd be pledging to protect all of these city-states. And you're pledging to protect them because a city-state, when you try and ask it for tribute, if a city-state has a pledge to protect, and I don't know if any of these do. Yeah, they don't right now, but if a city-state has a pledge to protect, you need 40 more of whatever it is in order to tribute it. So, you know, typically whoever's got first or second army is going to be able to tribute city-states. In a multiplayer game, that's going to be a human. You want to stop humans from tributing because a tribute is just a free 95 gold here. 95 gold is great. You don't want to give anyone that, so you pledge to protect. It's absolutely free. It has no repercussions whatsoever. If you pledge them, you just stop anyone else from being able to tribute them. So you would pledge. Oh, and look, Byzantium's pledging Yerevan, so we can check here. So we can see there's a -20 for pledge for protection. So no, actually it's 20, not 40. You know, who knew? But point is, that stops then. That means I have to get 20 more of whatever it is to be able to tribute Yerevan. So that's stopping me from being able to tribute Yerevan. So we would pledge them, but when single player, we're not going to pledge in single player here because AI just loves declaring war on city-states all willy-nilly. If an AI declares war on a city-state, you're either going to have to really annoy the AI or lose your influence with the city-state. We don't want to lose influence with the city-state if at all possible, so we're not going to pledge. We're only going to pledge if we feel the city-state needs to be pledged for us to get an alliance with it. We don't, so we're not. And we're going to move on to our next luxuries here. The next luxury we're going to get online, probably actually going to be the marble one, I imagine. It's going to take us a while. Yeah, this settler's going to be over there in 1, 2, 3, probably like 4 turns. This one's going to take 4 turns to get down here, and then we got chop jungle. So, and then this is closer to our current existing workers. So our next lux is going to probably be marble. So we're going to take masonry next, which means actually I might keep this worker around here, but it's actually going to be really valuable for us in order to get this worker, chopping down a few forests to accelerate this worker. So we are actually going to do something with it. I probably should have radared before doing anything with this, but we're not going to take too much damage here. This archer can't hit us here, I don't think. Yeah, because this archer's not on a hill, which means it can't shoot over this hill to shoot us on this hill. So that's actually worked out for us, and we're going to keep moving over, so we've got some support to take out the barb camp. We've got a choice now with tradition. The logical next 2 choices are either land and elite for the food, or monarchy for the happiness. I'm unsure about which one to pick here, just because the food is really a great growth bonus, and it's actually going to give us production, I think. No, we're losing 6 right now, so it's not even actually going to give us production, but it will give us benefit in 8 turns when we finally start actually growing again. But monarchy is going to give us gold and more happiness, and that happiness is probably going to be crucial to us getting our cities out. So let's take monarchy, make sure we don't waste it. In 14 turns we'll get the growth anyway, so we don't miss too much. It's going to allow us to grow without problem in our cities, so I'm kind of okay with that. Then going to continue moving down. I think the spot to settle is right here. We want the bonus of a water mill. We don't actually lose any. I mean, we could settle here and pick up another fish. And maybe that's okay, actually, because we don't lose anything else. It's an off-river settle, which is going to mean we don't get a garden, we don't get a watermill. It's a shame. But it might be worth it for another fish. I mean, the fish makes up for the watermill, so we don't have to worry about that. So it's really about the garden. We're going to have... Oh no, it might be nice to have a garden. I'm unsure, basically, about what we do with this here. We probably lean towards the garden, but I actually don't know what the play is. We need to heal this archer before we get within range of the barbarian camp, so I'm going to take this archer forward now and just shoot. Shaka, hello. Interesting. So Shaka is a militaristic man. He loves a good bit of military. But one thing that a lot of people don't know is that Shaka is actually incredibly loyal. If you can get on his good sides, he's really not going to do anything to harm you for most of the game. And he loves to declare war on other people really cheap. And that's good. Because if Shaka's your neighbour, instead of him attacking you, you can just pay him for really cheap to go declare war on someone else. And that means that, you know, if an AI has recently gone to war with someone, they won't usually declare war on you. So that's why it's really, really valuable to have Shaka as a neighbour, because he'll actually declare war on people really cheap. You don't have to deal with his in-peace, someone else does. Now, of course, if you piss him off, he's going to declare war on you. He's Shaka, you know, he does that. But I've made an error here, taking Monarchy, and I've made an error because I didn't realise that I'd be able to get the Lux trade with Shaka, and that I was going to get these furs online and, you know, all this stuff. We're going to have too much happiness right now. I mean, it'll get us quicker to a golden age, but we're going to have happiness coming out of our ears here. So probably could have taken the food. We'd have had an extra few turns with food in Washington. But let's not worry about it. We probably want to go production focus anyway. This is a bit annoying. We've got this warrior coming now. This warrior is going to hit us. This archer will probably shoot us. We've got this settler away, home free here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the settler here first and then decide. Now, if I wanted to settle here, you'd think the logical conclusion would be to just move my settler here, right? But, you know, my movement is going to be done with my next move because I've only got one movement left, which means that I can move once on my next turn before settling. So if I go here, I can then move here and then settle. Oh no, I don't know which is better. I'm just going to go here. It doesn't really matter. We'll move here just in case the barbarian comes to get us. And because we're done worrying about getting our settler down here, we'll actually just take our archer out of the firing line for the moment. And with our city, yeah, I mean, look, we're already going to be growing now. That's such an error. We're going to move to growing now. We're growing 8 turns. It's a real pain. I really shouldn't have taken that social policy. But it doesn't matter. We'll do it anyway. Next, we're going to need a granary to kickstart our growth, but we're actually going to get a worker. One more archer might be nice. I think we've got enough workers right now, although one more worker would really be useful to us. Hopefully this barbarian archer's gone away and we can carry on moving through the area now. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to get moving this along. We need to protect that. We need to make sure not to get this settler taken by the barbarian archer, but we want to move this over so that we can... Is our food focus come into action? So that we can help get this worker out faster and eventually get one down to our other city where we will need to improve the cocoa. We'll get one more worker now. Workers are really valuable, then they'll improve the yields of our tiles, and then we've got to get that granary next. I could really do with another archer, but maybe we've got a bit... Now that we've got cities down, we might have a bit of a handle on these barbs. I don't know. I don't know, this archer will let us go take that worker soon, so we'll go get the archer. And since we're... I mean, it's 8 turn growth. Might as well just stagnate for a bit and get the archer. I mean, it's only 10 as opposed to 8. I mean, 10 is quite a lot. We'll grow quicker, we'll work the food. Yeah, sure, friends with Byzantium. That's nice. Start good relations with AI early. Definitely don't want anything bad going on there. We're really taking some hits with this archer now, so I'm going to move it one step closer to this archer before shooting it. That just stops it from being in the firing line of this warrior. And we're going to take a shot now at this warrior because we're up on the hill. That gives us some defense when the warrior attacks us, but also we'll be able to shoot it with this archer next turn. I still haven't decided about this city. I think the extra fish will be valuable to us here. I mean, the garden would be nice, but we'll already have 3 garden cities. There's no need to go too overkill with the 4th. I mean, there is. Gardens are really great. Yeah. Oh no. I really don't know. I guess we prevent tile overlap. Can't be a bad thing. Let's settle for the fish. We'll get there eventually, and it'll get us one step closer to these bananas. We hopefully won't have to buy them. So we'll plonk ourselves down. We're going production focus so that when we grow, we go into production tile, and we're going to go lock down our food. And we're going to need to get this iron. And look, we've got 5 tons until border growth. That's because we're producing culture. That's the free monument in action. I'm going to build a granary here. This city, it's not going to be too far away, the production from this city. So earlier we were talking about being able to build a worker first, and that was going to work. But to be honest, we're going to have enough workers. So I think we're going to do better here just by going straight for the granary. This has got a little bit lower production to begin with, and it's settled a bit later. So I think we go for the granary. We've grown here. 16 turns, 8 turns. I guess we'll grow one more. We'll probably grow one more time before, and I might even buy this. Yeah, I'll buy these bananas because that's 6 turns. We'll grow one more time before we go full production here. Okay, so we continue moving our settler towards the tile we want to expand to, and we'll move this worker down so that we can buy out to this marble and then improve it, and we'll keep garrisoning the settler. This scout can heal before it moves on. We'll move through here. There's probably some more AIs through here, so we'll go and find Shaka's lands and then go and meet more AI. Oh, okay, no. He already wants war. Another barb camp there. Fortunately, we won't be having to deal with that one. Now, we've taken some hits here with this archer, but again, we can probably... I mean, we'll take another promotion because we're going to be really greedy. Hopefully that archer survives. That's going to look really bad for us if we die. Okay, on to our next luxury tech, calendar. We'll save sailing until way later because we're not going to settle the city until after National College. We're going to do that because adding another city, this city is actually going to have to build a monument. It's going to go down late. It's got no direct production tiles next to it, which means the library is going to take ages to get built. We haven't really decided even where we want to settle it with yet. It's going to really benefit from being fed a caravan or something straight away. It's going to delay National College too much. It doesn't really do anything for us early in the game, so we're going to save it to after National College. So we won't take sailing because we don't need it. Just going to get chopping here. Now our choice is going to be either there or there, so we're just going to move to this tile because we can move there next turn anyway. We're going to move this worker along. I guess we'll save that. That's not even Shaka's land. Don't know who that is yet. We'll see. That's good that we continued going there. We'll meet one more AI that's making text cheaper. We'll have a look at the wheel now. In fact, wasn't the wheel cheaper earlier? Oh yeah, we settled extra cities, which is why the wheel is now more expensive. But it's 38 now. But we might look at some of these. For instance, look, I mean, mathematics is 74 as opposed to 81. That's a lot cheaper. Optics is an awful lot cheaper, but I think optics starts cheaper by default, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to move on. Now, with our city, we've got the choice now here or here. I think it functionally makes too much difference where we place it. I guess we get closer to the hills by being in here. Maybe. We're going to get the same overlap with our cap, so I'm not too worried about that. We are further away than the stone, though. But I don't think we're actually going to be wanting to work the stone alley, and we're America, so we can buy tons of tiles. It will save us money on buying out to the marble. So I think we'll just settle in place. No need to go super close to Quebec. We go production focus, and then we go work our 3 food tile for a little bit of early growth. We'll go for the granary again. And I guess we'll buy the marble. And we'll hold on to a gold, but we'll buy this tile if we have to. But the city-state is on its 4th ring, so yeah. You know what, we're going to buy that. I'm worried about one of these city-states taking it as their 4th ring thing. It's going to be a little while before they get 4th rings, but I don't, we've got the money. I don't want to chance it.